Well, all right. Welcome everybody to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight we're talking about all things automotive industry, all the things that the real gearheads love talking about. Cars, cars, cars. Listen, this is the home of real gearhead talk. Real gearhead talk. We say it all the time. Welcome back to all my subscribers. I'm so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. If you're new, give me a like and subscribe. This is a safe place and a fun place for automotive enthusiasts. We love talking about classic cars and muscle cars, supercars, exotic cars, performance cars of all shapes and sizes, trucks, Jeeps, you name it. All the things that true automotive enthusiasts are into, motorsports, rallies, road trips. Listen, we have fun around here. The channel's been growing so wonderfully. I'm just having such a great time interacting with you folks. Get at me at Hot Seat Gearheads on Instagram. And guys, without further ado, let's get right into it. So tonight, what are we talking about? This is my first weekend owning the C8 Z06. So as you know, if you saw my previous episode, your buddy CJ just landed a 2023 Chevy Corvette Z06. The car is a coupe, and I'll talk to you about options in a minute. But after I picked it up earlier in the week, listen, your buddy CJ don't mess around. You know I get right out there, as I told you I would, and I want to share my ownership experience with you as a car guy. I don't claim to be a professional driver or, race car dude. Listen, I'm a car guy. What do? I love cars, and I love talking about cars. I drive cars. I do automotive events. Been doing it for decades, and that's the perspective that I bring, all right? And hopefully you guys appreciate that. I know a lot of you do. And I think we got a lot in common because if it's got four wheels and an engine, we dig it, right? So let's go ahead and get right into it, guys, without further ado. First things first, I want to reiterate kind of the high-level specs, if you will, regarding my C8 Z06. So here it is. As you can see, the car is black. It's a C8 Z06 Coupe 2LZ. The car is equipped with a 5.5-liter flat-plane crank V8, producing 670 horsepower, about 460 foot-pounds of torque. The car will do 0 to 60 in about 2.6 seconds. Impressive, right? And the quarter mile in about 10.5 seconds. That's impressive, too, I think. Fantastic car. More to come on that. A couple of the important options, particularly in the context of doing a mountain run, a mountain road trip that I did this weekend. I kind of want to give you some context of some of these options that the car has and the specs that really I think are different, that really are difference makers for this type of use and event. This car is equipped with the carbon ceramic brakes. Okay, so important. What's the old saying? The purpose of brakes on a performance car is not to slow you down. It's to enable you to go faster in, dare I say, more of a controlled manner, because you can have confidence in your braking system. And I would say these carbon ceramic brakes inspire confidence, number one. Number two, they're fabulous. They just work so well. I never lost confidence on the mountain runs. I'm going to tell you in a few minutes about the runs that we did and the location we were at. I'll give you more on that in a moment. The car is also equipped with the Z06 standard Michelin Pilot Sport 4SZP tires. They're 345s in the rear. They're 275s in the front. The rear wheel's a 21. The front wheel's a 20. Okay? So plenty of rubber, plenty of brakes on this car. As a matter of fact, I'd go to say, I'm going to give you the answers, if you will, before the end of the podcast to tell you, this is a fantastic rally car. This is a fantastic road trip car. That's my impression. But I want to give you more of the details on that. A little bit more about the event. So Blacktop Excursions, shout out to Eli and the Blacktop Excursions guys. They put on a wonderful rally, an automotive enthusiast event. If you haven't checked them out, particularly if you're in the Southeast, or anywhere you're at in the country for that matter, check them out. Based in North Carolina, Blacktop Excursions, rallies, road trips, true automotive enthusiast-oriented events, I'd say. And it's a great group. I've done a lot of automotive events over the decades, all kinds of things, cruises, road trips, rallies, track events. I'm not a huge track guy, full transparency, but I digress. My point being, I've seen them kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've seen them done very well. I've seen them done poorly. I've seen them everywhere in between. What I will tell you is, the blacktop excursions guys do a great job, and it's about the group that you have. It's about the way it's run. So I would say check them out if you're interested. But this rally was focused on kind of, heading up from the Charlotte, North Carolina area through Virginia, taking some back roads. Ultimately, on day one, the highlight for me, that's kind of where I want to focus, was when we hit the Snake, which is Route 421. Who's familiar with the Snake, Route 421? What we're talking about here is a really just adventurous road in every sense of the word, guys. I want to show you that. Okay, guys, I wanted to put this on screen. Our primary route on this road trip, our primary destination, I should say, and starting in the Charlotte area, coming up through the highways and byways, Virginia, and then ultimately Tennessee, was to Shady Valley, Tennessee, Route US 421, the Snake. And as you can see, it's a valley with 3 mountains, 489 curves. And yes, your buddy CJ drove all 489 curves in the 2023 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. And I'm here to tell you the car did incredibly well. But this road, I would say, just a word on this, because some of you who are dialed into this episode might be veterans of mountain runs. Maybe you've done the Tail of the Dragon. You've done all of them, the Snake, the Viper, the Python, you name it. You've done everything out on the West Coast. Some of you haven't. And listen, I don't claim to be a race car driver. I don't claim to be a track guy. Listen, I'm a car guy and I enjoy driving. I know my limitations. I'll be honest with you, right? Your buddy CJ doesn't claim to be any kind of super high performance driver. All right. I like to think I'm safe and sane and I'm reasonable. I like to have fun, but I don't want to hurt anybody. And I for sure don't want to hurt myself. And I don't want to mangle my car. Like all of these things. I know guys, and I hate to say this, but over the years, they've wrecked their cars on these events. And listen, accidents can happen. And it's easy to make a mistake at any automotive enthusiast event, road trip, cruise, rally, track event. Anybody can make a mistake. But, there's reckless and there's excessive and then there's reasonable, safe and sane. I'd say your buddy CJ tries to keep it safe and sane while having fun. I think that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this weekend. I think most of the folks in the group were kind of like-minded. One other word on this, and then I'll move on to my experience with the Z06. If it's your first time heading to a mountain run, I just got to mention this to you. Don't be intimidated, but also take a look around at who you're going with. If you're going to be kind of slow, either you've never done it before or it's your first time in a certain car, tell everybody you want to hang in the back, and know who the aggressive drivers are. Candidly, there's probably... in every group, there's 1 or 2 guys who are going to always be right on you, okay? And just because they're super comfortable and they want to go close to the edge, they're going to try to intimidate you into doing that. Now, your buddy CJ does not get intimidated by anybody from anything, just the way I am. But in all seriousness, guys, I want to let you know, don't be intimidated. Listen, if you go during the week, check it out. It'll be less crowded on any of these mountain runs, whether it's 421, the Snake, Tail of the Dragon, any of the others. It can be crowded spring and summer, fall with the foliage. If you go on these mountain runs, listen, on the weekend, there's a lot of motorcycles, there's a lot of cars. It can be treacherous. It is intense. Don't let anybody tell you different. So my advice to you, I'll be honest with you. If I could go back in time, I'll share with you my perspective. If you're doing one of these with any group, I don't care who the group is, right? Before, you get involved with a group and doing some of these things, your buddy CJ's suggestion is maybe do one of these mountain runs by yourself during the week, if you can. See what it's like. Get a feel for your comfort zone. Go easy. Go slower, okay? You don't have to be Mario Andretti or Senna. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be. And if you try to push the edge, we're human beings. We all have limitations. So I promise I'll get off my soapbox, but I wanted to mention that because I care about you guys. Your buddy CJ loves you. and just kind of wanted to give you my perspective because that's what we do on this channel. But guys, let's get back to it. I want to talk about my experience with the Z06. Isn't that what we're here for? Let's talk about the car, CJ. Enough of this nonsense. All right, guys, let's take a look at another shot here of my car. All right, so back at it here, another shot of my car from this weekend on the rally. So a couple things by way of performance and high level that I noted. Number one, for any highway driving, I was averaging anywhere from 17 to 19 miles per gallon. I want to share that with you, right? I think, if I was, those of you that know me and you watch my previous episodes, I traded in my 2021 C8 Stingray for this Z06, okay? I have logged 18,000 miles in that Stingray over the course of 3 years. All kinds of beach trips, mountain trips, foliage runs. I've done some, light track stuff. I've done some drag strip stuff with that car. That was a fantastic car. I loved my C8 Stingray Z51. Let me get that out of the way. I said it on my other episode. Check it out. Full transparency, I loved my C8 Stingray Z51. What I will tell you is, and I said this all the time, those that know me and that have, watched my content and maybe you've rolled with me on the streets. Your buddy CJ's always outside. You know that. But, I've been saying for years that the C8 platform is a fantastic road trip car. The C8 Stingray specifically. My car happened to be a Z51, but that platform, that car, fantastic on a road trip. You got a front trunk, you got a rear trunk. The car is that 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So does the C8 Z06, everything I just said. Okay, the car has plenty of amenities. Even in base trim, you've got all the comforts, okay, that just make it a great car for a road trip. It's a convenient, comfortable cruiser. Okay, I'm talking about the C8 Stingray. Okay, and you probably average in a Stingray on a road trip, depending on what kind of spirited driving, I was getting anywhere like 21 miles per gallon, 22, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less if I was doing more spirited driving and that type of thing. So it doesn't surprise me that I did 500 miles in the C8 Z06 primarily on Saturday. That I got about 17 and a half miles per gallon average. Listen, before I hit the mountains, I was probably doing a little bit better, probably closer to 18, 19. But I finished out for the weekend at about 17.4 miles per gallon. So just want to give you some perspective, right? There's what they rate these cars at out of the factory, but your buddy CJ is here to tell you, having owned the car for a few days and already put on 500 miles on this rally to the mountains, including multiple mountain runs and some spirited driving here and there on the highways and byways, I averaged 17.4 miles per gallon for what it's worth. Running tour mode, as you know, if you're new to C8s, very similar to the C7 in terms of the driving modes, okay? You've got touring mode, which is kind of your comfort mode, right? Then you've got sport mode, which to me is the sweet spot. It was the sweet spot for the Stingray Z51 C8, and I believe it's the sweet spot so far, guys, for the C8 Z06. You then have track mode. Track mode's heavy. She winds out, guys. Red line on this is either at 8,400 or 8,500 RPM in the Z06. Guys, in track mode, these cars, they wind out. Why wouldn't they? Going to run at higher RPM. The shifts are going to be more harsh. Not terribly harsh, but they're going to be more harsh, okay? I want to get to that in a moment in terms of the track mode because I did use that quite a bit this weekend. I'll fill you in on that. But, in tour mode, your car's a little bit quieter, whether it's a Stingray Z51 or a Z06. Now, what I'll say is the Stingray is very quiet. The Stingray Z51 is very quiet in tour mode. Oh, dear. The Z06, listen, if all you ever drove around in was tour mode, the Z06 sounds incredible. It's next level. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. The only problem with tour mode from an engine noise standpoint and an exhaust standpoint is that you've got sport mode that ruins it. Real talk, You put this car in sport mode and it's a symphony. The car is just ridiculous. So as a guy who owned a C8 Stingray for 3 years and drove it 18,000 miles in every driving condition you could think of, legit drove that car. I've got 3 other cars that I drive all week, right? Including my C8. And I still put 18,000 miles in that car in 3 years. I well loved and enjoyed that C8 Stingray. Let me tell you something. From Jump Street, the C8 Z06 is just next level. And I said this on my other episode, I'll say it again. Everything that you love about that C8 Stingray, if you've done road trips and you've done track meets and you've done all kinds of things, and you say, I love my C8 Stingray, I know you do. I loved mine. But the Z06 just blows it away. Real talk. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, the interior, the controls, all of these things, right? You know, from an interior standpoint, it's very similar to your Stingray. Like there are nuanced differences between a Z06 and a Stingray from an interior standpoint. The big difference is in the performance, and that's probably self-evident, but number one thing, that 170 horsepower difference between a C8 Stingray and a Z06, it was self-evident on this mountain trip. Let me tell you something. Getting on highways, accelerating, passing other cars, forget about it. Game over. Game over between the Stingray and the Z06. It drives like a different car. Boom. I said it. I have owned this car since what? Friday? And it's Sunday. And I put total probably about 600 miles on the car. 500 miles on the rally and 100 miles just tooling around and doing some driving around other days. Probably 650 miles. This car blows away your C8 Stingray driving experience. Number one, here's my reaction from this road trip and from my first weekend with the Z06. Newsflash. If you currently have a C8 Stingray, do not drive a C8 Z06. Your buddy CJ says, do not drive a C8 Z06. You know why? Because it's going to ruin it for you. I'll be honest with you. The Z06 will ruin you for your Stingray. Now, guys, Stingray guys, I'm not bashing the car. I love your car. I love my Stingray. I miss it. I shed a tear when I think about that car. I had so much fun with it. But in terms of the kind of visceral engagement, the raw experience that you get from the Z06, it's just not there with the Stingray. The Stingray is brilliant. It drives well, it accelerates well, it shifts well. The Z06 just does all that better. And an important thing to note, and I said this my first episode based on my day one experience, I'll tell you guys the same thing right now. My experience on this road trip confirmed it for me. The C8 Z06 is not harsh. There are people, again, car guys talk. That's what we do, including your buddy CJ. All right? But I'm here to tell you that you can drive around comfortably in a C8 Z06. I'm a bigger dude. I'm 6'2", right? And I am completely comfortable in that C8 Z06. The suspension, the ride was not too rough. The seats, I have what are known as the GT seats in the Z06, the comfortable seats. I'm glad that's why I bought this car, because it had those comfortable seats. That's what I want. I do road trips. I don't just show up at a track and race. That's not me. It's just not me. That's not how I enjoy this hobby. If you enjoy this hobby on the track, good for you. Your buddy CJ, I'm primarily road trip, whether it's with a group or by myself or whatever, with a couple of friends. I enjoy the car wing to wing, all aspects of it. I'll do a little bit of track stuff, but nothing too intense, nothing too crazy. I use somebody else's car. I don't want to wreck up and mangle my cars. Are you crazy? But guys, key message there. Don't believe the hype when people tell you, oh, the C8 Z06, it's harsh. You got to go with the Stingray. Not true. Not true. Getting in and out of it feels the same. That was the other thing. Like gas stops and all that. I was completely comfortable with the C8 Z06 compared to the Stingray. All that stuff There's not like one thing I come back to you with and say, guys, here's something you got to be afraid of with the C8 Z06. If I had any negative experience, I will tell you. And I'll share a couple things with you here in a minute. But if there was anything where I said, guys, here's where I think the Stingray just blows this thing away, there's really nothing the C8 Stingray does better. There's nothing. And I'm not hating on the C8 Stingray. I'm telling you like it is. There is nothing the C8 Stingray does better than the Z06. Don't let anybody tell you. Listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But as a guy who's done tons of events with my C8 Stingray and now getting into it, first 500-mile road trip in the C8 Z06, your buddy CJ's knocking, and I'm here to tell you, this car is just everything you loved about your Stingray, Corvette guys, turned up to 11, maybe 12. It does everything better, stronger, faster. And that's all I can tell you. Some things, like as I mentioned, interior, so on and so forth, pretty much the same. But from a performance standpoint and engagement and experience standpoint, Z06 is just next level. Why wouldn't it be, right? So I wanted to share those things with you. Okay, guys, I want to talk a little bit more with you. And let me go ahead and change the screen because we have fun. Who has more fun around here than us? Like, come on. And all of YouTube, it's right here with us, guys. Come on. We having a good time. We love talking about cars. Guys, leave me those comments. But let me show another pic of my car. And this is fresh from the rally, fresh from the road trip. And I want to talk to you about a couple things. What was my experience on the mountain run? Okay, CJ, enough of the talk about the highway driving and the gas mileage. Let's talk about what matters most. Guys, I got into this car this weekend and went to 421, US 421, the Snake. What is it, 489 curves? It's just ridiculous. I want to tell you that I was very impressed with the C8 Z06. A couple things. I was grateful to have the carbon ceramic brakes. Now, full transparency, it's not like I compared it to a C8 Z06 without carbon ceramics, but my C8 Stingray Z51 did not have carbon ceramics. So what I can tell you is plenty of brakes for miles in this car. Now, I didn't ride the brakes, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a moment, but it was a comfort to know that I had the performance brakes. And they, I think it's an $8,500 option. It's not cheap, right? I mean, in a Ferrari, in a Lamborghini, other cars, McLarens, carbon ceramic brakes can cost you a lot more than that, right? So not a bad deal for that option, but it's an expensive option. And I claim it's worth it. While I didn't ride the brakes, I did use my brakes a lot. Full transparency, I told you, your buddy CJ's honest, and I got no problem telling you, I know my limitations, right? So was I on the brakes quite a bit? I probably was. It's my first time with this car on an intense route that I was not familiar with. I had never done the Snake. Okay, I've done Tail of the Dragon. I've done a bunch of other road trips and mountain trips, I should say. I hadn't done the Snake, so unfamiliar territory. You guys, a conservative approach rules the day. You don't want to wind up going off the road, hitting something, hitting somebody, So I was on the brakes, a little on the conservative side. The other thing I did was I put the car in track mode. I did this extensively with my C8 Stingray whenever I was, going into the mountains. And I'll tell you why. I would strongly suggest it for you as well. Leave me comments. Tell me if you take another approach. Now, full transparency, I'm not a paddle shift guy. And look, this is my car, my driving experience, my driving style. I know that in these dual clutch transmissions, with all the technology and the computers, I am not going to shift better and smarter than the car can shift itself. Real talk. And I've seen it countless times with guys. They think they can shift better than the car. They can't. They miss, they shift at the wrong point. They miss the shift. They don't pull the paddle right. They, in the heat of the moment, they do something stupid. And I'm not judging you if that's what you want to do. All I'm telling you, for me, this is just my opinion and my experience. I let the car shift itself. I don't enjoy messing with the paddles. I've had plenty of cars with manual transmissions over the years, high performance cars, but I'm kind of a fan of the dual clutch at this phase in my hobby. I really enjoy these high performance dual clutches. And listen, that enables me to focus on other things. And that's just your buddy CJ. What I will tell you is leaving it in track mode was perfect for me. I wasn't going to set the record for any, mountain run this weekend. Okay. I was going to learn my car and to have fun. Okay. And to get the adrenaline rush and have, that exhilarating experience and every bit of that. Track mode, what that enables you to do is to, leverage the gearing and let the car wind out a bit. When you get out of when you let off the gas and you're going around a curve, you'll get the effect of the car kind of slowing itself down, dare I say, downshifting through a curve. The car 80% of the time downshifted itself at the right time. Now, I was on the pedals. I should qualify my earlier statement. I did downshift a bit when I thought it was prudent. How do you like that? When I felt I might need to downshift a bit early based on these ridiculous curves that we're heading into, that I did. So I'm not walking back my statement. I still primarily left it and let the computer do its thing in the dual clutch transmission. But for the most part, I left it in track mode, let it do its thing, but I did downshift a bit. That's real talk. I just want to be honest and transparent with you. And it worked out great. That combined with the carbon ceramic brakes, very impressive. This car did not scare me this weekend. Here's another key point, guys. I want to let you know this car did not scare me. Some cars, if you've been a car guy long enough, certainly as long as your buddy CJ, you've been in cars that scared you, right? Where you said, this thing's an animal. Like, I feel unsafe. Like it's too much engine, not enough steering, not enough suspension, not enough brakes. This car's got it all. I did not feel like this car was unbalanced. I have been in Corvettes that were unbalanced, okay, where you got to constantly worry about that rear end coming around. It's just the C8 Stingray is extremely well balanced. The C8 Z06 is just, listen, I said everything the Stingray does is better, is enhanced in the Z06, and I stand by that. I stand on that. The Z06 is also balanced and did not scare me. Now, real talk, listen up loud and clear, car guys. And if you haven't done many mountain events or track events, this is a car that, because it inspires confidence, it can get you into trouble. And listen, we're all human beings. We can all make mistakes, but I don't want to see you get hurt. And I certainly don't want to cause an issue or get hurt myself. So why do I say that? Why am I bringing up all that? Because a car like this that inspires confidence, and I believe the C8 Z06 does, more so than the Stingray. You've got all this power, you got all this braking, all the steering, all the suspension, so solid. You got all that downforce by that huge double duckbill Z06 wing. All great. But you still got to respect it, because you can operate closer to the edge, maybe, but it's still an edge. And if you fall off that edge where talent runs out and you make a mistake, you follow me, something bad can happen. I would say the same thing applies to like a Porsche GT3. Oh, the nannies will save you. That's what I hear from Porsche guys all the time. Not true. If a Porsche guy ever tells you that his nannies will keep him protected and safe, like, dude, like, I know the nannies are great in these modern cars. I get it. But you still gotta, you're the weakest link. The driver is always the weakest link. I happen to know my limitations, and I really try to manage that. I get excited in the moment on these jaunts. But like a GT3, a Z06, because the car operates well at the limit, like, you will reach your limit before the car makes you feel uncomfortable in the car. You understand what I'm saying? So watch out for that, car guys. And I would say that for a GT3 driver, I would say that for a Z06 driver. Like, just watch yourself. The other thing I'll say is just the steering, the suspension, the car was planted. You will feel the steering difference. I just got done telling you, the Z06 is not harsh on a road trip. You can have it in tour mode. It's still fun in tour mode. It's just it's a little quieter, okay? The suspension, this car has the MagnaRide. This car has the MagnaRide suspension, adjustable. This car, obviously has the sport exhaust. So when you put it in tour mode, it's a little more chill, but it's still above and beyond where a Stingray is. Don't get me wrong. It's a pretty intense car. This is a very serious car in any mode. And I want to say that if you put a Stingray in tour mode, it is very chill. Guys, a C8 Stingray in tour mode, that car is a cream puff. Car is an absolute cream puff. You put a Z06 in tour mode, it's not a cream puff. Like, it's still intense. It's not harsh, but it's intense. Does that make sense? Your all your senses are tingling in your C8 Z06. Like, real talk. It is an intense, serious car. And the Stingray can be as well. But you can also, you can kind of cream puff it, if you will. Is that a thing? You know what I'm saying? Put it in tour mode. The C8 the C8 Stingray is very chill. And listen, I'm not going to repeat myself anymore, I promise. But Z06 is just kind of next level. Now, I want to compare a couple of other driving experiences. I kind of gave you some of my highlights with the C8 Z06 on this mountain run. I give it an A+. My mountain runs, let me talk about my C8 Stingray just a little bit more for a moment and just clarify a couple things with you. I'd say my C8 Stingray on the mountain runs that I've done with it, I'd give it a B+ to an A. Why do I say that? First thing I would say is, while the brakes are really good in a C8 Stingray, you do notice. Like, I'm fresh from my C8 Stingray Z51. I jumped into my Z06. I immediately felt a difference. Okay. And that's not to say that the Z51 brakes on a C8 Stingray are bad. They're not. They never scared me. C8, Z06 are just more fulsome, more engaging, and it's not a harsh braking experience, guys, but it was strong, extremely strong. The other thing I will tell you is the steering. The steering, you will feel it in the Z06, in my opinion, in my experience, as it's tighter, right? It's a firmer experience. It's a stiffer steering. I can't say that it feels any faster, and I haven't looked this up, and I'm just going by pure driving experience. I can't say like, wow, the steering is so much faster. It probably is. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'll look it up. Leave me comments if you guys know. But I would say, the way this car handles and steers is better on a mountain run than a C8 Stingray. You won't hate the C8 Stingray, but again, Z06 kind of ruined it for you. After having done it in both cars, I'll take the Z06 any day. I'll take the Z06 any day, and maybe that's self-evident. But the other thing I will tell you is you feel the power difference. Don't let anybody tell you different. Like, oh, the Stingray is fast enough. It is. It's a quick and fast car. C8 Stingray is a seriously fast car and quick. And it handles well and all those things. But you get into the Z06. Listen, I don't do video reviews. Listen, I like talking about cars and driving cars and doing all those things. But you want to watch, drag races and lap times with Z06s. There are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos where you can see how incredible this car is. I'm kind of telling you my experience with it. And what I will tell you is that 170 horsepower difference and the torque difference, like all of it, you feel in the Z06. The way it shifts, the way it sounds, the way it pulls. Whoa, way, way, way above the Stingray. And that's not to say that the C8 Stingray is a slow car or it's a bad car. It's not. It's a fantastic sports car. Use my analogy, right? Anything that's really good in a C8 Stingray, turn it up 2 notches. Go from 10 to 12. That's what a Z06 is. This is a super Corvette. Real talk. And I said this in my other video. Guys, I've driven every generation of Corvette from C3 onward. Okay? Thousands of miles and I've driven dozens with all my test drives and the cars I've owned, dozens of Corvettes over the years. This Z06, I've driven C7 Z06s and C5 Z06s. Never drove a C6 Z06. This car is just better. I'm being real with you. It's just unbelievable. Okay. Absolutely incredible. So, in a nutshell, I want to put a pin in this. The Stingray Z51 versus the Z06, hands down. Z06 does it all better. Did not let me down on this road trip. Incredible highway car. Put it in tour mode and roll. You are very comfortable, tour mode, bumps in the highway, so on and so forth, seating position, ride, suspension, handling. You are good on the highway. Just as comfortable as that Stingray. They're comparable. The difference is when you floor it, you dropped a gear or two and floor it. Yeah, the Z06 is going to melt your face. And goodbye. We're leaving now in the Z06, right? Stingray is a quick and fast car. Z06 is smoking any day. It's just unbelievable. Now, I want to talk about my experience with another car that I drove quite a bit. I owned a 2017 Porsche 911 Carrera S. And I can do if you guys are interested in me kind of talking about my ownership experience more with that car, let me know. But in terms of mountain runs I've done in that car versus the C8 Z06, I'm going to say what I often say about a lot of Porsches that I've driven. The Porsche, like on Tail of the Dragon, that Carrera S had rear wheel steering. It also had the PDK, which is the dual clutch transmission. Porsche does dual clutch better than anybody. Listen, I've driven them all. I've owned many of them. The Porsche PDK is the best dual clutch. Now, a lot of other manufacturers have caught up. Okay. And I know there's some of the same manufacturers make a lot of these transmissions, and it's really just different tunes and programming and installation and fitment and gearing and all those other things. But bottom line, like a lot of manufacturers, whether it's McLaren or whether it's, Mercedes, AMG, I don't know, certainly Chevrolet with the C8, they're catching up. Okay. But I still think Porsche is best. That car had rear wheel steering in the PDK, and the car was just brilliant on mountain runs. The difference, I'll say, if you like a surgical experience, like the car is just so tuned and perfect and dialed in, go with the Porsche. That Porsche that I had was rear wheel drive. They also make a Carrera 4S. I had the Carrera 2S with the rear wheel steering. That car will carve up any mountain. It will carve up the twisties. Ridiculous. That's another car that will not scare you. And again, the Porsche is down on horsepower compared to like a Z06, but serious performance car, and it really comes into its own in the mountains. Okay. So it's very different, but confidence inspiring, I'll say. That's the similarity. The primary similarity between the C8 Z06 and my Porsche 911 Carrera S 2017 with rear wheel steering, very important. The primary similarity is that they both inspire confidence. Neither car scares you, but I would say that the more dangerous car in the mountains, I'll be blunt, real talk, that C8 Z06 with big step up and horsepower, 2 more cylinders, does not have rear wheel steering. You could get into trouble quicker with the C8 Z06 than the Porsche. Listen, the margin for error is this thin. Margin for error is this thin when you're on these mountain runs. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's the way it is. They're intense drives. Somebody comes over the yellow line, you don't even have time to react. Some of these curves sneak up on you, and if you're messing around, you're not paying attention, or you come in too hot, you get yourself into trouble, okay? You got to watch it. You got to be careful. So what I would say is, which one's better? C8 Z06 more exciting, if that makes sense, but 911 Carrera S more surgical, more dialed in, more scientific, like if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? You will love that Porsche 911 Carrera S. It's not as exciting as a C8 Z06. And listen, I would buy another Porsche. I will own another Porsche at some point. One of my buddies on this rally had his GT3, and I was jealous the whole time. I want a GT3 at some point. But, I've driven GT3s. I haven't pulled the trigger on one yet. I will at some point. But listen, that's my comparison with those two cars. And guys, I'll tell you what. I wanted to come on here and share my experience. Weekend number 1 is in the books for your buddy CJ with that Chevrolet Corvette Z06. And I'm here to tell you, I give the car a solid A+. The car did everything I needed it to do on this road trip. The highway mileage was perfect. The comfort, the convenience was there. Logistics, all the options, including the digital rear view mirror, which is another fantastic thing. Basically eliminates a lot of the blind spot, real talk. And it's a really nice option to have on any C8. I'll advise it. Those are the highlights for me in terms of practicality. On the performance front, the car is just next level. The car is next level, and I'll reiterate it. Anything a C8 Stingray does, Z06 just does better, stronger, faster. They're similar. They are similar cars in many ways. Guys, it's the same platform. But everything that they've put into that Z06 really adds up and makes a huge difference. It is a super Corvette. Your C8 Stingray is a fantastic Corvette. Z06 is a super Corvette. Okay, and it did not let me down on that mountain. The brakes, the throttle response, acceleration when you needed it, between the curves, on the straights, that 5.5 liter flat plane crank did not disappoint. It was all there. It was all there. Car is dialed in. Car is solid. Steering, all of the engine management stuff, the driving modes, the Magna Ride, perfect. My tires were not breaking loose. My brakes were not smoking. Listen, those carbon ceramic brakes, I think, add to the experience of just stability and control when you're in either a mountain run or other high-intensity performance driving situation. So I wanted to come on here, guys. As you know I'm going to do, I'm going to give you all that straight talk, that real gearhead talk about what it's like to own and enjoy one of these C8 Z06s. This is my first weekend, guys, and I've already done just an incredible road trip with Blacktop Excursions. Fantastic time. Check them out if you haven't. Guys, I wanted to come on here and just share a bit of that and tell you how excited I am to have you guys as part of the channel. Give me a like and subscribe. More great C8 Z06 content to come, as well as other stuff. Hit me up with those comments. Give me a like and subscribe. Let me know what other kind of content you guys would like to see about other cars. I'm not just going to do Z06 stuff. I've got other cars, and I'm going to be bringing some of that forward. I got some other things in the works as well. Kind of exciting. But listen, guys, it was a fantastic weekend. Leave me those comments. Tell me about what you got into, and let's keep going. And until then, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.